Hello everyone, welcome back to Spar&Brawl. Hope you're having a decent day. As always, I'm joined by my co-host Sam, who was just telling me how David Cameron is in a bit of a mess. He's getting a little bit of backlash for some of his lobbying efforts. Of course, David Cameron was the Prime Minister of England just a few years ago, although there have been about like 8 people since. But yeah, Sam, what's this latest issue with David Cameron?
And, to be clear, there hasn't been eight people exactly. It's been two, but fair enough. Yeah. No, so there's a scandal that has been, it's been called the Greensill Scandal because it involves the company called Greensill. I think it's called, yeah, Greensill Capital, which was, it takes its name after its founder, who's an Australian a millionaire, I believe, or a financial person. The scandal involves the UK former prime minister basically involved in lobbying for a company that he works for. Uh, it's important to note that he's been cleared of any wrongdoing and there is not going to be any criminal charges brought up against him, but there is going to be an unprecedented formal inquiry ordered, which was just ordered yesterday, I think, by Boris Johnson, and he ordered the probe into lobbying by the former prime minister on behalf of the collapsed company Greensill Capital. Greensill Capital was basically a company that was in finance, and they were arranging their main job was basically arranging loans for small to medium size companies. Greensill had a governmental job as a civil servant while David Cameron was in office, although David Cameron claims to have only had like met him twice and had nothing like his relationship at the time then had nothing to do with him going to work for the company as a senior consultant 2 years after leaving office. He says that there is no relation, and uh, he went to work for the company and he bought shares in the company, which, according to reporters, the shares worth tens of millions of dollars. And 2 years after he left the office, and he says it was because Credit Suisse and other major financial institutions invested in the company. So, what was exactly he was doing? Basically, he was texting the current Chancellor of Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, asking for their help to arrange for the company to get to enter into a governmental scheme that came into effect due to coronavirus, but basically, which I think allowed the company access to public finances. They weren't entered into that specific scheme, but they did went into another scheme before going into administration and before collapsing. So they did end up getting governmental support. And now one of the banks that the company was working with in Germany is under criminal investigation. Um, so there is a good chance that there may have been a criminal doing in terms of the loans that they were giving out were either very they were very insecure loans, or there was criminal wrongdoing in terms of just stealing money from the company. So he texted the current Chancellor of Exchequer, and besides that, I think a year ago or so, he arranged a meeting with one of the ministers, Matt Hancock, uh, between him and Greensill, the head of the company. So, and he also went on many travels as a sort of as somebody who was attracting finance and capital to the company, including going on a camping trip. I don't know, is the I don't know, maybe that's code for something, but then going on a camping trip with Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi Arabia apparently to get him to invest in Greensill or give them some cash. I have no idea. But in his response, he said that yeah, he did. He traveled to a lot of places to meet a lot of people for the company because that was part of his job. So he's denying any wrongdoing, and there's going to be a probe, but most people are thinking because it's the conservative government and Boris Johnson himself has had many controversies similar to this. It's not going to be a very serious probe, and they basically going to probably suggest some slight changes to rules regarding revolving doors between, in politicians and lobbyists, but there's not going to be much because it's a very conservative government, which includes many of the people who served in uh, Cameron's cabinet. So, but it's an interesting scandal, especially because there's this speech by David Cameron saying that he's gonna fight lobbyists, and this is when he was, I think he just became prime minister, and lobbyism is, the whisper in the ear, the phone call that is exactly the things he's done, basically, like, basically being very chummy with your friends and with your, good friends from university and all that. So, but it's important when it shows just the level of corruption that is going on in every government around the world.
Yeah, he should have never made such a speech. I mean, he's like tailor made for lobbying, so I
Yeah,
don't know what he was thinking.
to be fair, I always thought he was one of the few prime because he never got older in the job as well as a prime minister, like president and prime ministers
Yeah.
usually do. I think that was his main. He didn't want to become a prime minister. He wanted to become a prime minister so he can do lobbying later on. So I think, yeah, he should just embrace it. I think in a way.
Yeah. And so, I mean, David Cameron is also, he went to like the exact school and that whole background as the other British
They,
politicians,
they
right?
are they are yeah, and they are both long distance family members of the Queen. So they are both long distance
Who's
members of the
both? By both, you mean who's the second?
Boris Johnson,
Boris
David
Johnson.
Cameron.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Michael Gove, I don't think he's connected. Uh, has a family connection, but he also went to Eton and was a classmate of them. They're all, yeah, good friends from uni.
Yeah.
Basically. But let me just give a shout out to Robert Smith from Financial Times and Gabriel Pogrond. I might be mispronouncing his name, from the Sunday Times. These are the reporters that basically uncovered these and yeah, made the scandal public.
Yeah. I mean, this story didn't, from what I understand, the story didn't break yesterday. What broke today or yesterday is the fact that there'll be this investigation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a while. It hasn't been getting much coverage, especially because of the death of Duke of Edinburgh. So, because pretty much UK has turned into this sort of it's a mourning period apparently.
Yeah.
So, it's yeah, it hasn't been getting much coverage, but enough to for the government to launch a probe. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, all right. Well, very interesting, Sam. And yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you like the content, and we'll see you in our next video. Thank you.